What if the moment you thought was your greatest loss was actually the beginning of your greatest blessing? Sometimes life tears down what we've built, not to break us, but to guide us towards something bigger. This is the story of how one woman discovered that every setback hides a hidden path. If only you trust the journey. It was not the morning anyone expected. The small town of Willow Creek had slept through a storm that nobody saw coming. No dark clouds, no warnings, only silence before chaos. Anna, a woman in her early 30s, found herself standing in the doorway of her family's farmhouse, staring at the collapsed barn. The roof had caved in. Years of collected tools and memories lay buried under splintered wood. Her first thought was disbelief. How could this happen overnight? She had plans, big plans. The barn was supposed to shelter her new business, a small-scale farm-to-table produce market she had been saving for years. Every detail had been calculated, every seed. As Anna wandered through the wreckage, neighbors gathered, offering words of sympathy and quiet assistance. She felt numb. Tears did not come, only a strange, hollow frustration. She thought about giving up, abandoning the dream that had carried her through long nights and endless work. Then, an old man approached her. He had lived in Willow Creek longer than anyone could remember, and everyone called him Mr. Hayes. His hands were rough. His face etched with lines deeper than most could imagine, yet his eyes were calm. "Lost something?" he asked quietly, surveying the ruin. "My barn, my market, my whole plan," Anna said, her voice shaking. "It's all gone." He nodded slowly, picking up a shard of wood. "I knew a man once, years ago. Built everything he thought he wanted. Then one night, a fire took it all. He cursed the world, blamed the sky, blamed God. But in the ashes, he found a road he would have never taken otherwise." Anna looked at him, confused. "A road?" "A path," he said, pointing toward the distant hills where morning mist hugged the valleys. "Sometimes the plan we make isn't the plan that's meant for us. Trust the journey," they say. Even if it begins with loss, he did, and it changed his life. Anna didn't answer immediately. She knelt in the dirt, touching the splintered wood, feeling the history of her hard work. But something in Mr. Hayes's words resonated, a whisper beneath the anger and despair. Over the next weeks, Anna hesitated at first, then slowly began clearing the debris. She discovered something unexpected. Beneath the ruins were old stone foundations she hadn't noticed before. The barn had been built on a natural spring, water that could sustain far more than she had imagined. She decided to rebuild, not exactly what she had planned, but better. A larger garden, a small pond, and a path for visitors to walk through the produce fields. As she worked, she realized that without the collapse, she never would have noticed the spring. Without the disaster, she never would have dared to expand her vision. Months later, the market opened, not the market she had first imagined, but something richer, more enduring. Customers came not only for the produce, but to experience the place itself, the pond, the flowers, the history, the story of the barn that fell and gave way to something greater. Anna often thought of Mr. Hayes and his words. God's plan, she realized, had nothing to do with preventing storms. It had to do with guiding her, even when she could not see the path. Loss had led her to a discovery. Frustration had led her to courage, and the destruction of what she loved had made room for something she could never have imagined. Sometimes she still woke in the early hours, listening to the gentle sound of the spring, feeling gratitude instead of despair. Life, she understood, was not about holding tightly to a plan. It was about trusting the journey, even when it began with ruin, and knowing that every step, every stumble, every failure was part of something larger, something unseen but always present. And in those moments, she whispered a quiet thanks, knowing that God's plan had brought her here, not despite the storm, but because of it.